So I'm really pleased to have with me Kaylene Milligan. Kaylene's also a family daycare educator. Hi, Kaylene. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for doing it. How long have you been an educator for?
I've been an educator for 22 years. First 5 years I was an in-home carer, and then the last 17 years I've been a family daycare educator.
That's a long time, eh?
Yeah, not wrong.
Where are you based?
I'm based in Kempsey on the Mid-North Coast, and I'm registered with Mid-Coast Family Daycare.
Cool. And have you had many children with medical conditions during that long and illustrious career?
Yeah, I've had quite a few. We've had anaphylaxis, we've got egg allergies, we've got restrictive airways, which seems to be a new one just at the moment. And I also have a child with FPIES.
Oh, okay. Now, there's two conditions I hadn't heard about. Tell me about restrictive airways and then tell me about FPIES.
Restrictive airways, I think, is a doctor's way of saying it could be asthma, but we can't diagnose it yet until you reach the age of 6. So they call it restrictive airways or preschool wheeze, something along those lines. Really nothing to worry about. You know, children don't have preventers or anything like that to be used in care. It's just something that the doctors are calling it until they can diagnose a proper diagnosis.
So do you have a specific medical, plan for a child with that kind of nebulous sort of medical condition?
No, there's they have no preventatives or anything like that. All I can do is if I notice the child's struggling with their breathing or anything like that, is to sit them down, calm them down, and just call mum.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay, and what about FPIES? What's that?
Well, FPIES, that's sorry, just to look at my notes here to give you the full name of it. FPIES is a food protein induced enterocolitis syndrome. Very rare, apparently.
Is that the one I've heard of people being like allergic to meat?
No, it's a protein allergy. It's mostly found, I think, from the little bit of research I've done, the triggers are like dairy or soy, or sometimes you might get your oats, your barley, things like that. But the particular child that I have, her trigger is cashews. So
Right.
It's not anaphylaxis, which we know is immediate, closing of the airways and all that. This one is to do, FPIES is to do with your small and large intestine, and it can happen instantly, maybe, or anywhere up to 2 hours later. And what its triggers are, it's profuse vomiting and diarrhea. So you could think it's a stomach bug, which most places, I think, with the child in question, when she presented at the ER first few times, I think they thought it was a stomach bug. But the last one that the last attack, which thankfully hasn't happened for a couple of years and has never been while she's been in care, was very serious, that she was lights and sirens to the hospital, and she actually stopped breathing on her way to the hospital. So should she have an attack while she's in care, there's nothing really I can do except make her comfortable, because there's no EpiPen, there's no medication or anything that I can actually give her to help her. All I can do is make her comfortable, call an ambulance, notify the parents, and send her which plan is it? Her action plan, a copy of her action plan with the AMBOs, because on the bottom of the action plan, the doctor has actually written a note for the ER department as to what medication to give her to help her when she presents at the hospital.
So in a situation like that, sorry, it's something I'd never thought before, you couldn't actually go with the child in the ambulance because you've got other children.
That's right, yeah.
So what have you ever had to call an ambulance for a child?
No,
No?
thankfully not. This particular child has other dietary issues as well. So she's gluten-free, dairy-free, preservative-free, also nut-free now,
Yeah.
and everything. So we don't really how can I say? If I had to call an ambulance, yes, but I'd also call mum. And given where I live and the distance for the ambulance, I think both would arrive at the same time, a parent or the ambulance and everything like that. So they wouldn't be too far apart that mum would be able to go, or dad
With the child.
with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And do you, like, are you always nut free, or are you only nut free? Child?
Yes and no. Many years ago when I had the anaphylactic child, yes, I was nut free because he obviously was nuts, and he was very serious that you couldn't actually have had any nut product at home and then come into care and brushed against him, be it on your hands or whatever, because that would cause a reaction. So we made it nut free. He was diagnosed at about 16 months of age. He's now 13 and has completely outgrown his allergy and never
That's great, isn't it?
Never once did we need in care or outside of care need to use an EpiPen for him. He always had one, but we never ever had to use it. And I remember that mum, when she came and told me that he was anaphylactic, and she said, I totally understand if you don't want to care for him anymore. She said it's a big thing.
No.
And I have to say it was a big thing for me too, because I'd never had a child with such a serious illness in care. But I took it on the chin and researched and did as much as I could to help him. And the children in care and the parents were really good. They never sent any nut products. I remember one day we had a child get out of bar. I think they were both 4 at the time. And the anaphylactic boy said, you can't eat that in front of me or around me because that will make me sick. And I corrected and acknowledged and everything like that. And thankfully, the other child complied and he put it away in his lunchbox. But
that's great.
The anaphylactic child was going home in half an hour, and I just said to him, look, if you can wait half an hour for when he's gone home, you can have your bar after the time. So that got around that. The FPIES child, she's now 4. She's been diagnosed probably in the last 2 years with it. Very hard, first off, to get not to want to graze other people's plates, because they sneak that biscuit off the plate or whatever when you're not looking. But she's now to the stage that if someone pulls out, I think, nuts, I had a child the other day come with cashews. First time ever mum has ever sent them, and she just said, I can't eat those, they'll make me sick. And in saying that, I didn't ask the child to put the cashews away, because I'd not long read, probably in the week beforehand, that we should encourage children to take responsibility for their illness, allergies, whatever, and understand that not everybody has those allergies, and that it's all right for somebody to have it around me. I just know I can't eat it. And and the little one, she had a few of the nuts, and then she said, I'll put them away, seeing that you're not supposed to have them, and she put them away.
That's great. And what advice would you give to other educators? I think you said that you've kind of become a bit of the go-to educator for people with medical conditions. I seem to get a lot
of children with allergies. I have another one with an egg allergy as well. And it appears that his sibling is also going to be egg allergy as well. So when he comes into care, I think basically the advice I'd give to educators is work with your parents. Find out, like, we still do cooking activities. We still have our massive big Christmas party every year, where I provide the food. And if you work with the parent and get an understanding of what you can and can't have. So if I've got the child, for example, who has an egg allergy, I've worked with mum and we've got some recipes that we can use so that on those days we do those cooking activities, they're egg free. That way the child gets to eat as well. His birthday, when it comes round, again, work with the parent. We either use an egg free recipe or we'll do an ice cream cake. Whatever works for the parent. Christmas time, you know, with the gluten-free, dairy-free, preservative-free and everything like that, and the F-pies with the child, I again work with the parent. And if I'm not sure on something, I'll send her a picture and say, look, you know, because the mum also has allergies as well. So, you know, you're not just catering for the children at something, you're catering for the adults as well. So I'll say, you know, can you all eat this? And what I did last year, because it was really, really hard, we had photos of the children that had allergies and everything, and the food that they were able to eat was labelled with their pictures so that they know they could go to the table and wherever their picture was on the food on the table, that food was safe for them to eat.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and we talked about it in the lead up to it, and I'd had the pictures already done so that they knew what pictures to look for and everything. But I think just basically just work with your parents. Don't think it's like a life sentence. It's probably not the word, but a life sentence of having a child with a medical condition, because you can work around it. Yes, you know, unfortunately, I'm sure sometimes it does happen that, you know, you do end up with that medical emergency. But if you've done your training, you've kept up to date, consulted with the parents, you know what to do. You know, you've got all your medical
good to me.
you know, you've got your medical minimisation plans in place and you've got your action plans. You know, if you follow those, you know, you're right. And like I say, in all the years I've had kids with allergies, I've not had to call an ambulance or even send a child home that's sick from something that they shouldn't have had. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Kaylene, for sharing your knowledge with us, and
Thank you.
I'm sure everyone will appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.